Again, federal government appoints governing councils, boards for tertiary institutions. Police allege irregularities and corruption in constables' recruitment. Cholera death toll hits 30 as 1,141 people hospitalized. And on the international scene, South Africa's Ramaphosa re-elected after coalition deal promises to serve all. Thank you for joining us. The federal government has reconstituted the governing councils and boards for the 111 federal universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Some weeks back, the federal government released a list of members of the reconstituted governing councils of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the ASU, and other stakeholders kicked against it over the allegations of lopsidedness. This prompted a withdrawal of the list for review. But in a Friday statement, the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation released another list containing members of the governing councils. According to the list, the Nigerian government appointed a former governor of Osun State and pioneer chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Bisi Akande, as the chairman of the governing council of the University of Ibadan, Oyo State. The list consists of 5 names, each for 51 universities, 35 polytechnics, and 22 colleges of education. On security matters, armed men on Friday abducted the managing director of Fuani Company, which represents the LG and Hisense, along with 3 Lebanese while traveling by boat in Lagos. Although the names of the victims have not been ascertained, it was learned that they were abducted around Falomo Bridge while traveling from Apapa to Victoria Island. Reports said the kidnappers have reached out demanding ransom of $1.5 million. The Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hundeyin confirmed the development. The Nigerian police force has sounded the alarm over alleged irregularities and corruption that allegedly marred the recently released list of successful candidates in the ongoing 2022-2023 police constables recruitment. This follows a deluge of complaints from unsuccessful candidates and stakeholders over the disappearance of names of those who were screened and successful up to the final stage. In a press statement on Saturday, Force Public Relations Officer ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi stated that scrutiny of the published list revealed several anomalies. Adejobi added that the list also contained names of candidates who had failed either the computer-based test or the physical screening, as well as those disqualified after being found medically unfit. The police spokesman revealed that the Inspector General of Police, the IGP Olukayode Agbetokun, had on June 10th written to the chairman of the Police Service Commission objecting to the list and citing the irregularities discovered. Adejobi disclosed that the police have disassociated themselves from the published list and called for a transparent and credible review of the process to recruit qualified, competent, trainable, and productive hands into the Nigerian police force. As Muslim faithfuls prepare for Eid al-Kabir celebration amid economic hardships, the residents of Kaduna State have opted for dry tomatoes for their Salah meals due to the skyrocketing price of fresh tomatoes in the market. While they find solace in buying dry tomatoes, they lament that its price is also increasing due to demand surges. Now, Trust Davis Belamus have visited the popular Zangong Animal Market and other locations in Kaduna to survey the situation.
Salah celebration is a time for love sharing among families and friends. However, the high cost of tomatoes has forced people to opt for dry ones this year.
It is beyond our purchasing power. Even fresh tomatoes are now more expensive, and dry tomatoes are also more expensive. I do not know what to do. I am just standing here. We do not have choice of what to eat on Salah Day.
The price increase is owing to scarcity of tomato as the season has yet to begin. Major of dry pepper is being sold for 5,000 naira, while a major of dried tomato is 2,500 naira. There is a scarcity of fresh tomatoes, and even if there are, many cannot afford them, so they instead purchase dried tomatoes. At the Zango Animal Market in Kaduna, rams are being sold at exorbitant prices depending on their size, with some going for as high as 1 million naira. Sellers bemoan low patronage due to high prices. People are now sourcing food for their families rather than buying rams. Those that used to buy many rams can only afford few now.
So we know say this Kaduna, if salary come, market they offer. So now no salary, no market. That is my complaint.
Prices of ram this particular time is highly exorbitant. It's on the high side. Wallahi, it's on the high side. When we came, we never knew we would be able to purchase one. The one we are able to get is going for 400,000. Look at it over there. We just paid for it. Actually, we are buying it for someone. So if it were me, I don't think I will be able to slaughter ram this year. Wallahi, I would rather forgo it till some other time.
The price of this ram is 1,250,000 naira, but sellers say the market is uncertain. Surge in price has nothing to do with dollar. It is due to cost of transportation. With 5 million naira, we can only supply few rams. Son is low patronage due to economic hardship. Each animal here consumes 1,500 daily. We also give them water. At times, we sell at lesser profit.
Because if you go travel for village, go buy ram, you go carry expensive for transportation. For each one ram, 5,500, 6,000, 5,000. Last 2 days, I go to Jigawa State. I buy ram. We gather for people. We carry one trailer for 1.2. That trailer, they carry 230 for ram. For inside one trailer. So you sharing the money, dividing the money. Each one ram, it is supposed to 5,500 for each one.
Despite an increase in the number of rams and animals at various locations in Kaduna, economic realities have taken toll on potential buyers. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Muslim pilgrims in Mecca on Saturday witnessed the most important day in pilgrimage, Arafat Day, amidst the prayers and supplication for God's mercy and blessings. Sharif Al-Hassan, who is on the plain of Mount Arafat, tells us more on the significance of this day. Take a look.
More than 1.5 million pilgrims across the world Friday night started another journey from Mina to Arafat for the second day of Hajj rituals. The day of Arafat, or Yom Arafat, is a very significant day in the lives of Muslims across the world. It is on this day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfected and completed the religion of Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, anyone who prays on the plain of Arafat, his prayers is as good and answered. But the most significant thing in all of this is that this day, the Arafat day, anyone who misses standing on the plain of Arafat here stands a chance of losing the entire pilgrimage. Throughout the day, pilgrims will be making supplications, praying to God and reciting the noble Quran in search of favor and praying to Almighty Allah for their different priorities in life.
So Arafat is the most important
aspect of Hajj is the peak of Hajj. So whoever finds himself here must thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the most important again is after being on the Arafat, you are able to witness Arafat, and then go spare your life. You went back home. You are expected to be a clean person. You are not expected to go back to the sins that you have been committing before. So you see, once somebody is lucky, he was on Arafat and then he went back home and he continued his, he did not go back to his previous life, then it means he is a clean person, and inshallah you should expect that when he passes away he is going to Jannah. One has no any other business except to pray. Praying for himself, praying for his family, praying for his country, praying for the leadership, praying for every other person for good of the country and for good of himself. And he should also ask God for forgiveness. So this is where the box ends.
With the rising temperature of close to 48 degrees Celsius under the desert sun, these pilgrims came or climbed this hill. It's so important because this is the hill where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivered his last sermon during his last pilgrimage, closely 14 centuries ago.
I don't know how to express myself today because this is the first time I make it. We are going to pray for myself, for my parents, for my siblings, for my state and for my country at large, because we have a lot of challenges in Nigeria. So that now it's time for me to stand here to pray hardly for our country to be in a position it before.
In a nutshell, the day of Arafat is seen as a golden opportunity, not just for pilgrims here, but for Muslims across the world to seek for Allah's abundant mercy and of course to get much more closer to Him. From the Mount of Arafat, Sharif Al-Hassan, Trust TV News.
The 10 Nigerian teenage girls allegedly trafficked to Ghana for prostitution have returned to Nigeria. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM chairman Abike Dabiri-Erewa, who made the disclosure in a post on her X handle, said the girls who were rescued in Ghana arrived Lagos on Friday. According to her, the girls, who are mainly from the Imo State, were accompanied by representatives of Imo State government. The NIDCOM chairman added that they were received and profiled by officials of National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. The girls, all under the age of 18, were reportedly lured from Nigeria to Ghana by a nameless man who has now been arrested by the police in neighboring West African country. According to the NIDCOM boss, the girls were rescued by the Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, NIDO, an umbrella association for Nigerians living in Ghana. The National Biosafety Management Agency has called on the general public to exercise caution over the recent cholera outbreak in some states across Nigeria. Head Information and Communications for NBMA, Gloria Ogbaki, in a statement on Friday in Abuja, quoted the Director General, NBMA, Dr. Agnes Asabra, as saying there was need for carefulness. Asabra said NBMA, in collaboration with health authorities, was actively monitoring the situation and implementing measures to contain the spread of the disease. She also called on Nigerians to imbibe various hygiene practices such as boiling drinking water or using certified water purification methods. According to her, there is need to wash hands thoroughly with soap and water, especially before eating or preparing food. The Director General also urged Nigerians to always wash hands with soap and water after using the toilet, cook food thoroughly and consume it while it was hot. She advised that Nigerians avoid raw foods such as fruits and vegetables unless they could be peeled or washed with safe water, and to always keep the environment clean and dispose waste properly to prevent contamination. The Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources has commenced the removal of structures obstructing the free flow of rainwater and causing flooding in Okezie Ubaja Street and other parts of Okota, Oshodi and Isolo local government area. This followed the commitment of the Lagos State government to ensure a cleaner Lagos and zero tolerance for building on drainage right-of-way. Meanwhile, several warnings were issued to offenders, and today marked the initiation of concrete action to address the issue. The Lagos State Commissioner of Environment, Tokunbo Wahab, made this known via his verified X handle. The Commissioner mentioned that any structure that impeded drainage system will be properly demolished to mitigate the risks of flooding and uphold the safety and well-being of residents.
Show me when wájú ni.
Wájú yẹn lè títí yẹn lè rí géètì náà ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ yẹn. Ó dàbí irú ìtọ̀hún yẹn náà ní séètì náà pẹ̀lú ilé.
Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Department has warned of an imminent flood disaster in Jahi and Gishiri districts, Abuja, due to building on waterways. The Acting Director General of FEMD, Florence Wenegieme, gave the warning in Abuja on Friday after a risk assessment exercise in the areas by the department. Wenegieme said that the assessment has revealed that residents have built houses on waterways and flood plains, while drainages were blocked in Jahi and Gishiri. This, according to her, can lead to flooding, which she described as a disaster waiting to happen. She explained that the risk assessment exercise was to enable FEMD to develop strategic mitigating measures against flooding and other disasters and effectively respond to emergencies. She said the FEMD would write to the Department of Development Control to visit the areas to ensure all developments in the areas were authorized and in conformity with the Abuja Master Plan. The Kaduna State High Court has ordered the confiscation of property belonging to the Kaduna State Road Agency, KADRA, over unpaid debt. This is among the liabilities recently discovered and disclosed by Governor Opasani, inherited from former Governor Nasir El-Rufai. The court order resulted from a lawsuit filed by individuals who had worked for the state, seeking summary judgment against the KADRA until the debt is fully paid. Trust TV's Bello Musa reports.
They have locked the gates. They have locked the gates. They have locked it. They have buried it in our open
This pandemonium at the office of the Kaduna State Roads Agency is about effecting court order to confiscate the vehicles of the agency by Kaduna State. Justice Ladan of Kaduna State High Court ordered KADRA to pay over 500 million naira to the plaintiffs by the dependents.
They filed a suit against the Kaduna Road Agency. At the end of the day, they secured judgment. The suit was filed in the year 2020, and judgment was given to them in the year 2024.
What were your prayers?
No, just for the payment of money the government, the agency is owing to the plaintiffs. That is members of the drainage. That's exactly.
How much was it?
It's 523 million and 523 million. And so that's exactly.
Counsel to the plaintiffs, Barrister Inamele Onyebesi, further explained that the case lasted for many years, noting that some group of individuals who worked for the state during the last administration were yet to be paid.
The matter in court from 2020, the suit was filed in the year, that was September 2020, and then the judgment was delivered 2024. That the Kaduna Road Agency should pay the money to the plaintiffs. The matter is a case that was taken to full trial, so it's not as if there is anything.
Property confiscated at the main office of KADRA and its sites include heavy trucks, Hilux vehicles, among others. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
In business, Ghana's state-owned electricity company has announced a 3-week power interruption following a significant reduction in gas supply from Nigeria. The Electricity Company of Ghana, the ECG, made the announcement on Thursday, stating that the reduction, which began on Wednesday, is attributed to ongoing maintenance work by a Nigerian gas supplier. ECG noted that the decrease in gas supply has led to a diminished power generation capacity across the country. To manage the situation, ECG has stated that load shedding will be implemented. In a joint statement, the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, and ECG explained that due to a gas supply shortfall from Nigeria, they are implementing a load management program to maintain system stability and reliability during a 3-week maintenance period of the gas supply infrastructure. The ECG assured the public that it is working closely with other stakeholders in the power sector to optimize available resources and minimize the impact on consumers. On Wednesday, the West African Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, announced a reduction in volumes of gas available for transportation due to the maintenance shutdown of a producer's facility in Nigeria. This reduction affects gas supply to customers in Togo, Benin, and Ghana. On the international scene, Cyril Ramaphosa has pledged to work with politicians across the political spectrum after being re-elected as President of South Africa by lawmakers on Friday. His re-election comes after his African National Congress party struck a dramatic late coalition deal with the main opposition party and others to allow him to clinch a second term in office. Ramaphosa won convincingly in a parliamentary vote against a surprise candidate, Julius Malema, the leader of the far-left Economic Freedom Fighters. Ramaphosa won 283 votes to Malema's 44 in the 400-member House. Ramaphosa secured his second term with the help of lawmakers from the second biggest Democratic Alliance party and others after the ANC lost its 30-year parliamentary majority in a landmark election 2 weeks ago. The ANC signed an agreement with the DA just hours before the vote for president, ensuring Ramaphosa's return as leader of Africa's most industrialized economy. The parties will now co-govern South Africa in its first national coalition where no party has a majority.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the members of this august House who have voted for me, who through their vote have invested and placed their trust in me. I intend to work with all members and indeed to work together with even those who did not vote for me or who did not find their way clear to vote for me. And this is their democratic right. We are all South Africans, and I will serve all and work with even those who did not support me tonight.
And finally, in sports, World Football Governing Body has released the women's latest ranking for this quarter. Unlike men, the women's ranking are conducted every 3 months, and the new edition has been released. The Super Falcons of Nigeria retained its position on the table and maintained the top spot on the continent. The Nigerian side is ranked 36th in the world compared to the Bayana of South Africa, who were placed 51st in the world and 2nd in the continent. The Atlas Lioness is the 3rd best ranked team in Africa and they placed 56th in the world. The next ranking is scheduled to be published on the 16th of August 2024. And with this, of course, we will wrap up news updates on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.